So, welcome and thank you for being here so that we can have a little discussion on what maybe matters or what we can talk about. So, we were continuing psychic education, and although I have not prepared the new slides, but there is something that we can do today. So, we were on the topic of unification of the being. Basically that usually we see that we have bits and pieces of us. A part wants this, the other part wants the other thing, extremely opposite, and somehow we are not one unified. We are not unified. Mind wants something else, emotions run towards something else, the body is in her own area, and the heart, the wanting of the heart, soul's need is something else. So how to become one, how to unify ourselves? And as human beings we have this, I would say, golden opportunity, because the level of consciousness that nature has evolved in a human being, it is something that, yes, I see myself in bits and pieces, but that can be a raw material, and I can evolve towards something which is more harmonious, more unified, more towards goodwill and good heart. That is a possibility. And I was nowadays I'm reading Jane Goodall's book, The Reason for Hope, and also I watched the documentary where they share her journey, and it's really marvelous, very inspirational for those of us who want to see. That she shares that even chimpanzees have these the aggression, jealousy, greed. You find that in worst cases in animals also. And you also parallelly find that there are a few chimps which are able to overcome these disturbing ones and move towards more kindness, more compassion. So those also she saw in chimpanzees. So if it's possible in chimpanzees, which are considered to be our ancestors, and now as we evolve, human brain and consciousness is much, as we say, evolved according to scientists, then I think we are also responsible to behave accordingly. And the moment we become conscious of some lower instinct within us, we have the also the possibility to consciously notice it and step back from it. Because I have followed it enough, suffered through it enough, these excessive self demands, self obsession, me, my needs, my desires, सब बस उसी की कहानी चलती रहती है, the constant rut that goes on. And the more we suffer through all this, the the more understanding and conviction that now it's time for me to step back. Now it's time for me to purify myself of these lower impulsions which are coming from our ancestors. And Thich Nhat in one of the videos, he talked about that if in one instant I remain mindful and step back from maybe a wave of anger, jealousy, ambition, all these disturbing things that come up, if I'm able to overcome that, then what happens is I erase what was coming to me through my ancestors, these animalistic instincts, territorial behavior, how we feel jealous when our loved one maybe falls in love with somebody else, for example, this jealousy, the fire within, the agony within. So these are all animalistic patterns that were maybe necessary at one point of time, and we still have imprints of those. But we also have the possibility to overcome these now that the evolution is at such a place. हाँ जी बोलो मम्मा, जल्दी बोलो अन्ना, मुझे आवाज देते रहो. So therefore, Jane Goodall says that considering all this, we as human beings have even a greater responsibility on our shoulders because of our higher intellect, because of our possibility to overcome all that pulls us down and really destroys ourselves and the planet. Not only in terms of sustainable ecological stuff, but also in terms of what burns me. Anger burns me, and also it hurts the other person. Aggression, violence, greed, excessive desires, they all burn me, and they burn the other person also. So knowing that I have the capacity to overcome and transcend all these, when will I take the step ahead? So a greater responsibility towards harmony in a family, and harmony as a planet, and as this global community that we are. So now that we are on the unification of the being, I feel again in terms of my own personal reflections that unification is an urgency, just like we say that sorting waste or recycling or reducing our needs is an urgency if we want to save the planet. Unification of our being is also an urgency. And somehow we are so busy in our daily rut that we hardly have time to pay attention to this unification. And it's not that we don't suffer. If we are not unified, we do suffer. But somehow, as if we have made suffering a way of life. So we are going every day with more stress, more suffering to our loved ones and our own self. But somehow, this idea of putting effort in this inner work, I don't know, maybe it doesn't occur to us, or maybe we are too lazy. Everything else is important, but not this. And that's why then suffering comes, because when I'm suffering very heavily, then I have to do something about the inner peace. Otherwise, ठीक ही तो चल रहा है, we say ठीक ही तो चल रहा है, इतना ज़्यादा effort क्यों डालें? And the time passes by, the human birth is lost, and one has to take birth again, continue the journey from where we left. And I feel it's a wasted birth if we don't pay attention to what is important, the growth of consciousness. So Mother says that unification has to be done while we are alive. While we have this mortal human body, this task has to be done right now. This is the proper use of the human birth. आ जाऊं? So give me a moment, I need to attend to something. And if you have any insights, reflections, hold on and we'll take it up. Yeah, anything, Shreya or Birenji, anything that comes to you?
Nothing, Monica, but I mean, what everything that you said resonates, but at the same time, I also feel that personally for me, I see how, I see what is true, but I also at the same time see myself not being able to walk the path because of all the distractions and ups and downs. So it's just sort of a mixed feeling that, पता नहीं इस जीवन में कहाँ पहुंचेंगे, because it's I don't know. I mean, to put the blame on myself or someone else, or to not think about who's to blame at all. But the truth is that it seems like a very far away reality.
No, I think instead of putting the blame, so I know the right direction for me, as if I have an idea what to give importance to. But since the daily routine affairs are very, as you said, distracting, they pull my attention towards them, and I make them more important, and I'm unable to focus on what is really important. So instead of putting blame on anyone, can we look at this, that yes, this is happening, yes, this is happening, yes, this is happening, yes, this is happening, because it happens again and again. And maybe if we continue to look and become conscious that yes, again I'm giving importance to something which actually doesn't matter, I have to give importance to this that matters. And the moment I become more and more conscious of this distraction, can I bring myself back on what is actually important? So this is my question. Instead of putting blame either on them or myself, doesn't matter, or circumstances, forgetting about the blame, guilt, shame, everything, uh, just channelizing it right away, immediately, factually, that, oh, I got distracted, okay, time to bring myself back to the breath again. For example, oh, I got distracted, time to bring myself to the breath again. Something like that. क्योंकि डिस्ट्रैक्शंस तो देखो किसकी लाइफ में नहीं है ना. डिस्ट्रैक्शंस, so we all have our own distractions, and very soon, if we remain on the path, I feel that very soon these distractions become the raw material on for the progress on the path, the same very distractions. So I don't need to run away from the battlefield. I need to give, for example, if some interaction is happening in outward situation, which to enter into that appears very draining to the mind, that why would I enter this discussion at all? So what I do is that, okay, I am in the middle of that discussion or whatever is happening, and I keep bringing my mind to the body in the present moment again and again. So slowly what happens, or the stories are coming up in the head, many images of past, future, present happenings, commentary is coming up in the head, and I look at them, and again I don't give importance to them, but I bring the mind in the present moment with the breath. So in the middle of all that chaos, so called, the background noise happening, I can be on the path and allow the life to unfold itself. But I forget that there is a work to do. मतलब माइंड इतना लॉस्ट हो जाता है द आउटर चैटर एंड इंटरनल चैटर में, that I forget, oh, I had to tame the mind. Oh, I had to train the mind. And how to tame and train the mind? We'll have to again and again bring our attention to where my mind is right now. Is it at a place which is benefiting it? Okay, if not, then bringing it right here, in the stillness with the breath in the present moment. And then somehow I feel that the more we do this practice of uh, gathering our scattered threads of consciousness, the more we do this collecting again and again, I feel the more we are able to have a fuller life, that wherever we are, and we are able to give our best in that moment, because we don't know what's going to happen next. So I think there comes the importance of unification, because although I see that the habituated mind, it is just a old habit of the mind to get lost in the images and stories in the head, which is okay, so far so good. But now I see that it's not helping me. So I want to unify, like you are centering the mind in the present moment, emotions in the present moment, everything is kind of being collected. And now with this collected energy, the right decision gets taken, the right word gets spoken. So I feel that it's for each one of us, no matter wherever we are, each one of us as ordinary human beings. I feel that it's an urgency. Why? Because if we don't unify our being, we don't live a fuller life. We keep really suffering continuously. And we don't have to be so miserable the way we are. If only we could put effort in the right direction. If only. So, as people have said, masters have said, that it's because of laziness that we are not all enlightened. There is no other thing stopping us. And we keep putting effort in the habituated directions, and those efforts leave us empty handed, and still, out of habit, we go there again and again. So, just to reverse that habit, if we are getting distracted, come back to the breath here and now. And wow, I have a human body, healthy relatively, I can function well. Okay, now how can I offer this to the world? How can I make the best possible use in the whatever little situation I am? So that's unification. For me, that is also unification. So when we talk of unification, there is something which comes, which is a willingness to unify. That now I have lived a kind of a old life enough, and now I'm willing to unify my being. So this is called aspiration. Like from within, there is this aspiration that I want things to be better in my family, in relationships, within myself. As mother uses the word perfection. So if you don't want to use the word divine, you use the word perfection. Hmm? So I want to move things either in my relationship, work, within myself, in the global situation, towards more harmony, more beauty, intelligence, wisdom. So this is all the movement towards the divine. And this is what we call aspiration. That things can be good, things can be better. So if even we have a little aspiration. I was talking actually yesterday to a relative of mine who is much into relationships. Like she's a family person, and she was saying that I wish that, maybe there was more transparency in relationships, and we could be respectful towards each other, and give space at the time to each other, and lovingly discuss things. So when she was sharing this with me, I said that hold on to this dream, because it's a dream, it's an aspiration, and it will be possible, because the more we move towards our center, each one of us, it is impossible that we don't have harmonious relationships. But the thing is that there may be ideas in her mind that this is how it should happen. Harmony, beauty in relationship, this is how it should happen. So those ideas may be wrong, but the dream itself is very beautiful, which we can hold on to and aspire to the divine, that may make myself more pure, maybe ask the divine that detoxify myself, purify myself, so that we can have love and harmony and beauty in relationships, because it is a possibility. As mother says that as children we have many good dreams, and those dreams should not be shattered, because all those dreams are the ones which carry us forward towards future. So not to abandon those dreams thinking that no, it is not possible. It may not be possible in the way I think, but definitely it is possible. Everything good and beautiful is possible. So this is what we call psychic aspiration, anything that calls us towards beauty and harmony and perfection. So Sri Aurobindo shares that the call of the being, psychic aspiration, is the call of the being for higher things, for the divine, which in other words is perfection, for all that belongs to the higher or divine consciousness. And they also say that it's like as if you're doing a yagya, ahuti is it, like you put in havan. So if you see a weakness in you, or this is impurity in me, you put it in the psychic fire, that now I want to transform it. I don't want to follow its dictate. I don't want to listen to what it's telling me. I just want to now transform this anger or aggression or hate or blame. All that, the moment I notice it in my being, all that, you put it in the fire, psychic fire, within our heart, mother says, in the depths of our heart, and offer it to the higher, that may it get transformed, and may something higher and beautiful come towards it, from it. So I thought we'll maybe do a short meditation on psychic fire. If we have reflections, we can take them up right now, and then we can do this little meditation which was given to us by Gnostic Center here in Gurgaon. So Amita Didi has spoken a few words, which are words of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and formed it into a short meditation, which is like this offering all our weaknesses. For example, if you see laziness in you or resistance in you towards higher and beautiful things, then even offering that resistance, may this resistance be offered, the laziness, the inertia, the tamas, the frustration, annoyance, all that can be offered in the psychic fire. So, any reflection here at this moment, or shall I play the thing?
I was just wondering, Monica, that
Huh.
when we say higher and beautiful, um, what is higher and beautiful? I mean, for example, like doing something, for example, keeping your need aside, is that higher? Or pursuing your needs and, something that lifts you, is that higher?
Hmm. So, what do you think? Have you had glimpses in your life? I'm sure you would have, where you touch something expansive. You know, you did an act, any act or any gesture, and it rather than constricting you, it kind of expanded you in joy. Any
Mhm.
glimpses like that?
Yes.
So, I would say that's one of the hints that we can take. You know, for example, if the commonest possible example that we can take is that, for example, there is last bit of some good thing left, maybe a mango or whatever you like, ice cream or whatever. It's a last piece left, hmm? And you also have a desire to eat it. But then you notice that there is maybe somebody else also in the house that would maybe like it, and you step back from your own desire and you offer the last piece to the other person. And although fulfilling your own self would also be satisfying, but somehow when we do this act in selflessness, it somehow gives us more expansion and joy. So that is one place where we can get a hint or a glimpse of what is this divine, when you said higher, what is this higher? So higher is anything which is not suffocated by me, my story, my agenda, my need, my gratification. When we go
But in the
beyond
same,
this,
right,
yeah,
right.
please go
But in
ahead.
the same example,
Mm.
if something like this is happening again and again, say between siblings, one can also start feeling resentful. I mean, it's just circumstantial in a way.
Example though, resentful in what sense?
In the same example that you shared, right, of sharing the last piece of a fruit,
Hmm.
if that keeps on happening again and again, for example, that you are giving, re-
Ah, okay.
and it can also lead to resentment,
Yeah,
say
it will.
between siblings, right?
Yes,
An
yes.
elder brother or elder sister always gets something, or the younger ones always, I'm always sacrificing for my younger sister or brother. Eventually it can also lead to resentment. Is it still higher and one should work on that resentment?
हाँ तो देखो
Or
अब मैं फॉर एग्जाम्पल यू आर माई सिस्टर ओके एंड आई एम ऑफरिंग यू समथिंग स्टेपिंग बैक फ्रॉम माई नीड आई कुड हैव easily that last piece of mango, but
right.
I really appreciate when you rejoice having the last piece of mango. Okay, now if I am not in touch with a deeper sense of joy within, a true sense of joy, if I'm still thinking in my thoughts, oh, I could have that last piece, I had to give it away because people consider it good, so still my focus is where? Me, my limited self.
Right.
So if this is background chatter is what I am believing in, and I'm not able to connect with this deep sense of relief and joy that I feel that when I see other person happy, then you are right that the resentment will happen, frustration will happen. But parallelly, if I get connected with a deeper sense of joy, even when my stomach goes hungry, I'm connected to that deep sense of fulfillment, which
Mm-hmm.
fulfills me, what we say soul feed, the food for the soul. If that is not happening and I'm still believing in the chatter of the mind, which is always focused on me, my desire, I could have that, this sense of lack, if
Mm-hmm.
I'm believing that to be true, then absolutely what you're saying is true, that it will lead to more and more frustration. So what has to happen is to this shift within. that instead of believing in those repetitive thoughts about me, myself, my story, I look at those thoughts and I say, haven't I believed in you enough? Because this is the ego pattern. When we talk about walking the bodhisattva path, this is how we do it. We look at those thoughts which are always centered around me, the lack that we have, and trying to fulfill that lack. So I look at them and I say, I have really worked and ran so much trying to satisfy you, but your tummy doesn't get fulfilled.
Hmm.
I am not going to listen to you anymore.
Hmm.
So this is how we step back from those vicious patterns of ego consciousness.
Hmm.
And then we get in touch with the deep sense of joy, which is for no reason. For no reason. I may be hungry and yet I can be joyful because I'm in touch with this deep center within, which is always, like Kabir says, na, is ghat mein hi Ganga hai, this holy dip within. So this is what we have to get in touch with. And looking parallelly at those patterns, which are always self obsessive, and now really telling them that I'm not going to buy into you.
Hmm.
Mhm. Because that's not us. That sense of lack, the me, that's not the true nature. That's why we always go suffering when we believe in those thoughts. The void never gets fulfilled because we are not that which we are trying to fulfill. So, like a process, it shifts. And it also stills the mind, I believe, when we get in touch with this deeper sense of satisfaction in us, uh, it stills the mind because now the mind stops running. As Kabir ji says, दौड़त दौड़त दौड़िया जहां लगी मन की दौड़ दौड़ थके अब मन स्थिर भया तो वस्तु ठौर की ठौर. So he says the mind trying to fulfill itself, this sense of lack, मुझे चाहिए, मैं नहीं भरी हुई, in trying to fulfill itself, it ran in all directions. But when it really got tired, haven't I ran enough? Haven't I ran enough? So when it really got tired, it realized that, wow, this sense of fulfillment, contentment is right here with me without any need for running. So the mind gets stilled and we get in touch with a deeper unfolding of life, which we call psychic individuality, the psychic being. So let's try this meditation, which is offered, as I shared, by just a second, by the Gnostic Center. Yeah. So, in whatever little way we can do this, deeply connecting with our deeper being, deeper self, and the moment you get yourself in your thoughts, you see yourself scattering away again in the background chatter, noticing it and bringing it back to the voice that is being played. So, let's see.
True happiness does not depend on the external circumstances of life. One can obtain true happiness and keep it constantly only by discovering one's psychic being and uniting with it. The Mother. This concentration
I'm sorry, I think something is wrong. Just a second. So trying to just play it from. Give me a moment.
The mother. This concentration, which is called a dynamic meditation, is one of the most powerful ways of coming in touch with one's psychic presence or psychic flame or psychic being. But for that, the first step is to learn how to concentrate and where to concentrate. So close your eyes and once again allow yourself to be completely at peace. Let your thoughts and your emotions become like a still pond of water. Be completely quiet. Let your thoughts quieten down. Let your emotions become like still, clear water. And gather all your attention, all your consciousness, and focus it deep in the center of your chest. Deep in the center of your chest is the place of the psychic being. Let yourself completely relax and go within. If you find it difficult to concentrate in the center, in the heart center, you may concentrate on any other point. But this is the best place to inwardize one's consciousness and to find the inner psychic presence. This psychic fire meditation is a meditation for progress, and those of you who want to change themselves, transform themselves, this is the most powerful and dynamic meditation. As Sri Aurobindo says, a psychic fire within must be lit. Isn't the psychic fire always lit? The questioner asks the mother. The mother replies, it is not always lit. Then the questioner says, how to light it? The mother replies, by aspiration, by the will for progress, by the urge towards perfection. Above all, it is the will for progress and self-purification which lights the fire, the will for progress. And each defect one wants to cure, or each progress one wants to make, if all that is thrown into the fire, it burns with a new intensity. And this is not an image, it is a fact in the subtle physical. One can feel the warmth of the flame. One can see in the subtle physical the light of the flame. And when there is something in the nature which prevents one from advancing, and one throws it into this fire, it begins to burn, and the flame becomes more and more intense. So let us now begin. Give yourself the space, the time, and do not worry. Just allow yourself to go deep, deep, deep within yourself. And as you go down deeper and deeper, let this will for progress, this will for transformation, become stronger and stronger until you will feel or you see deep within a flame, a light that burns in the center of the being. By your aspiration, let this inner flame, let this light grow higher and higher, higher and higher, until it becomes a burning fire for progress, a burning light. And into it, offer as ahuti all your weaknesses, all that you want to get rid of, all the problems that you have, all your difficulties. And as you offer one by one, the fire grows more and more intense.
Ô toi, que je ne puis penser, mais que je connais avec certitude. whom I cannot think, but whom I know with certitude.
I'll also share this. I've shared this earlier also. This particular meditation. I'll share it again in the group, and one can, I don't know, use it as a tool method. So I think when we were offering, that, for example, if there is laziness in me that I see, or resistance in me towards something higher or beautiful, and if I'm offering it in the fire, inner fire, imagining the fire to be there, I see that I'm not able to offer if I still have expectation that this will give me something. So we are not able to drop our attachments, offer our uh, ideas, opinions, demands that we have, because we still have hopes that they will give us something. And there comes the importance of suffering. So, in the beginning, attachment to a person or a relationship gives me promise of pleasure. And that's why I'm not able to give it up, like put it in as a ahuti. But if the same relationship now gives me pain, which very soon happens with us mostly, then I'm now ready to offer it. So I feel that somehow at the stage of evolution where we are, uh, since we become too clingy and attached to things and people and situations and ideas and beliefs, so it's good that it gives me trouble, because then only I can purify myself of the attachment or the clinginess. Because when I'm clingy, I'm neither able to grow myself, and now neither allowing the other person to grow in freedom. So therefore the need for suffering, that if now I have suffered enough through the clinginess, now I will be able to offer it as a ahuti, and hence able to purify myself and grow expansive, which is the birthright for each one of us. Because usually we are too glued and too kind of, like, I want to pamper my attachments, I want to nurture my weaknesses, and whatever there is that I would like to transform also, maybe. But at the moment I don't want to change this, like we are too possessively holding on to them in a hope that they will give me some satisfaction or pleasure. But we don't realize that this clinginess actually takes away the deeper satisfaction that comes when we renounce, when we are ready to renounce. Then we get this contentment which is beyond this demand and expectation for satisfaction. So we can enjoy the relationships or things as they come, and we can let them go also. But in clinginess, I'm not even able to enjoy fully. We suffer really badly in clinginess. So this is just one of the little windows that we have for today. Uh, like a tool, we can use it, and just a little bit of a window into how one can connect with this aspiration within, the psychic aspiration, and now get ready to drop the old that I am carrying. If I have suffered enough, now ready to drop that and opening ourselves to something more vaster, more purified, uh, more in good heart, opening myself to that, although I have no idea what kind of life that would be. But now I have really done enough, following the dictates of the older patterns and tendencies. So if I'm ready within, I feel ready within, I can announce it to the universe, like we were doing in this meditation, that I feel ready and I'm ready to take the next step towards further purification of my being, and putting everything that comes in an obstacle as a ahuti in that fire, that may it get transformed to something beautiful. Now I'm not going to follow the dictate of it. May it get transformed to whatever the divineness deem fit. So any comments, any reflections? Okay. I also feel today I was again sharing with a friend the distractions that you were talking about. She was also talking about it, how we get pulled away from this situation, that situation, and outer stuff happening. So I think in those times it's very important to set the inner compass right. That what am I here for? What is the purpose of human life at all? And if I remind myself of the purpose, that here am I have no idea, no clue what's my true nature. Have I discovered myself? Have I realized who I am truly? Definitely no, right? So there is much to be done. And then those distractions become secondary, because the whole purpose now becomes to take a stance as this consciousness, that presence of awareness. And to, the more I take stance as that, the more I remind myself to take stance as awareness, I have also the opportunity to stabilize myself there. And then everything else, whatever outward happening may be happening, that would become secondary. And the prime purpose is that to realize myself, to know myself, because the more closely I know myself, the better actions can be taken, the better words can be spoken. Automatically, it's a byproduct of knowing oneself. Right action and right uh, word and body, speech, mind, as they say, that gets taken by the higher intelligence. So we are not then able to fool ourselves anymore. So if this compass, inner compass, is set right again and again, okay, what am I here? Okay, yeah, that situation is troubling, but have I realized myself? Do I know who I truly am? So again and again coming back to myself and not getting lost in the drama or the dream of the world. So if I think that can be done, remembrance of what we are here for truly, that really sets us again and again, because we get distracted, so it sets us again on the path. Knowing that the distractions will be there, not trying to blame them, knowing them as a fact that, okay, distractions are going to be there, so how am I going to remind myself? All right, so if no comments and reflections, thank you, both of you, for joining so that we could have the session today. Really appreciate you taking out time, and wishing everyone happy practice and good rest of the Sunday.
Thanks, Monica.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Bye bye. Bye bye. Thank you, Virenji.